Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Sophia and I'm going to talk about how I got a full ride to Princeton University as a first-generation college student who's low income. Now let's get into my academic stats. So I had a 4.0 GPA weighted and a 3.9 unweighted. I took 11 AP courses, 3 to 4 honors classes, and 2 dual enrollment classes with St. John's. My stats weren't perfect. I had a 30 ACT, but I didn't submit because Princeton is test optional, and my SAT was like a 1250, which is really low compared to their average for those who are admitted and submit their scores. So yeah, my stats weren't perfect, but I took really hard courses, I challenged myself, and from freshman to senior year, I had an upward growth in my grades. Now let's get into the extracurriculars that I did over the summer and year-long throughout high school. So first, I'm going to start with summer programs and internships that I did starting in about summer 2024. So that would be sophomore year going into my junior year. So first, I did a program at I believe it was the Southern District of New York, and there I won an award in the mock trial competition for best attorney. And then the following summer I did I did a lot. I did the FBI Teen Academy, which was 2 weeks in Manhattan. I did an internship with the district attorney in my borough. I did a commissioner for a day program, which I believe is sponsored by the mayor's office in New York City. And now I'm currently in the youth advisory council for the district attorney in my borough. So that's about 10 months long. So that shows continuity, leadership, and I have a clear story about justice and serving a community. My major would be economics, so it definitely kind of ties in, but it is important to tell a story through your extracurriculars. So now in high school, I did student council for 4 years, and now I'm an executive. I was the volleyball manager of the volleyball team, varsity volleyball, for 4 years. So through that, I got a lot of experience, made friends, I scorekeep, and I would travel with them. Next, we have a food pantry club for the food pantry in my borough. So I'm the captain of that. So I've been the captain for 4 years. And lastly, I want to highlight, I have a health club that I'm the co-founder of, so I've had that for 2 years, which I tied into my supplementals. Again, you want to craft a clear story and mission, but it needs to be authentic. You can't just be lying. So, yeah. Now I'm going to talk about my supplementals, which I think is what really got me into Princeton, besides my extracurriculars and my grades, which usually every Princeton applicant has pretty strong extracurriculars and grades. So for the 2025 admission cycle, they asked a lot of questions about service, why will you be a fit for Princeton, and then the typical, they have like short response questions that they ask. So for the first question, they ask about your life. What have you learned so far? And how have these experiences shaped you as a person? So I talked about Hurricane Sandy, which destroyed my home completely. It had to be rebuilt. And then I talked about how my family recovered and how I was inspired by my mom to be a leader and to take control of my family's finances, which again would tie into my respective major. I tied in the FBI Teen Academy, student council, and then at the end I talked about the PACE Center for Civic Engagement. So I will recommend that when you write your supplementals, you really want to talk about like what you know about the school. I did a lot of research. I've visited Princeton before, but what really helped was just looking on their website and looking for things that I think I would actually want to do there, and then bringing it into my essay. Next question, they ask about service. So I talked about how I'm a captain of the food pantry club and how families on SNAP, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance, in New York City receive a certain amount of money and it's not enough to survive on. So I talked about how me donating sandwiches helps people in a real and human way. And then I also talked about my health club, how I founded it, why I founded it, and then some missions that we had. So we did something at a hospital with vaping, and then a blood drive in my school, which was open to basically everyone in the borough. And again, I want to highlight that when you talk about things that you do, don't just say that you did it. Make sure you talk about why you did it. So I tied in, again, life experiences, why I founded the club, and why it's important to me. The next question asks, what is a new skill you'd like to learn in college? And you can literally talk about anything. Like if you want to learn knitting and crochet, if you want to learn a new language, if you want to learn how to cook, if you want to learn, I don't know, just literally anything you can talk about. Mine was a bit nerdy. I just talked about data analysis and statistics through programming, because again, I wanted to do econ, so that would be pretty important for analyzing financial markets. Next question, what brings you joy? Initially, I wrote about manatees because I really love manatees. I think they're really cute, and I visit Tampa every year. But my guidance counselor told me to scratch that because I don't interact with manatees every day. So that's something you should think about, like what brings you joy? Does it bring you joy often or just once in a while? I'm sure if I wrote about manatees, they wouldn't have rejected me. But instead I wrote about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I think was funnier. I think a line that was definitely funny was that the Ninja Turtles have taught me a little bit about pizza. Next question, what song represents the soundtrack of your life at this moment? Again, you can literally write about any song. I don't think these short answer questions are to trick you or there's a right answer. It's more to get an insight into who you are as a person. So I chose Nonstop from Hamilton, which is a very common song choice, which I didn't know at the time. I just really love the song, so I chose it and it worked out. And then lastly, they ask what programs at Princeton suit your particular interests. So I just talked about economics, mathematics, policy. And then here is where my research on Princeton really shined, to talk about all of the things that they offer, the different departments, majors, certificates, which are minors, professors, classes, and what I plan to do. So yeah, this is where you really want to talk about what you know about the school. Another thing that I'd like to note about writing your essays is just be you. Be authentic. Don't try to sound like someone else. Because personally, I'm not a very poetic writer. I can't write flowery. I'm very matter of fact in my essays, and it's authentic. Like, obviously this is who I am. I'm not trying to sound flowery or like those typical Ivy essays, because admission officers are very used to seeing that style of writing, and it comes across as inauthentic if that's not actually how you write. But if that's how you write, then just do it. Like, go for it. But if you don't write like that, don't worry. You can still get into an Ivy League, and it won't impact your chances. So now I'm going to talk about my timeline when I started writing my essays. So I started in August because QUESTBRIDGE applications are due September 30th. So I really wanted to get ahead and have my essays be read over by someone I trusted. And it really helped having several drafts. And at that point, I also started my supplementals, even though they weren't due until, I believe, I don't know, like October. So my advice is to start early and have someone read them over, whether it be a teacher or one of your smart friends, maybe even a family member, but don't let them write it for you. Again, you want your authentic voice to shine through. So now I'm also going to talk about what QuestBridge is. So for me, I didn't know about QuestBridge until, again, that summer. My guidance counselor told me about it, and it's essentially a program for low-income students who are typically first-generation college students, but you don't have to be. And it's basically, I don't want to say it's easier, it's different. It's different than Common App because it's specifically for low income. So colleges are going to look at you differently in a positive way because you're only being compared against people who are just like you and not against rich people or, I don't know, people with crazy grades because they had more opportunities than you did. So through QuestBridge, I was able to pick up to 15 schools. I ranked about 4 or 5 Ivies because I really wanted to dream big, and then a couple liberal arts colleges, which I ended up cutting a few out because I didn't want to go somewhere super rural. Instead, I really wanted to be near a city. So again, Princeton was perfect for me. Like, it's really close to where I live. It's only an hour away. So Princeton was my number one. So by October 21st, I found out I was a finalist, and only about 7,000 students were chosen to be finalists out of maybe the 25,000 to 30,000 applicants. And then I had to wait 5 weeks until December 1st to find out if I matched or not. So I'm going to include my reaction video to when I matched to Princeton. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful for Princeton and QuestBridge for helping me get a full ride, which includes tuition, housing, and food, travel expenses, and they're also giving me money to keep for supplies. So again, just really grateful. I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but again, dream big. You never know what can happen. So stay tuned for my Princeton 2030 journey. Bye guys. Update. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I matched!